Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. I don't know why my voice cracked like that. I went through puberty again. But this is a paid request for Eric. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, rankings lists, re-reviews, commentaries, pretty much anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. In this video, he wanted me to talk about top 10 films that never got sequels that you like to see sequels for. This could be sequels made today or hypothetical sequel released a few years after the original. I had to think about this for a bit because of the part that says that never got a sequel. Which is like, oh, you know, a Predator 3 and a Real Alien 3, but it's like, no, films that never got a sequel. So I did think of a couple. Dredd 2, that's number one. Just Dredd, I saw in the theater. I saw it in 3D in the theater. Well, you don't... Maybe that was one of the things that messed it up. You could only see it in 3D. But the 3D was really good. I think it was one of the best 3D experiences I had in the theater. And Dredd was just a kick-ass movie. It deserved much more. But it came and went. I remember when I got home from the theater, I did a video. I was gushing about it. Go see this movie. But it shows how much of a nobody I am. You guys saw it, but most of the country, they didn't go see the movie, and it bombed. And then people go, why don't we get a sequel? Well, because no one saw the first one. That's how business works. That's how business usually works. But Dredd 2, I would love to see. I mean, and there's stories you could tell from the Dredd comic. I think there's someone with a Judge Death. That would be an interesting character to come into play. And maybe a Dredd sequel that, while the first one was trapped in a building, maybe the second one would be something where you're on the run. So it's kind of like the pacing of a Die Hard with a Vengeance or the film Speed, where Judge Death or someone... I'm not familiar with Judge Death. I'm not familiar with his motif. But somewhere him and his partner are on the run. Judge Dredd, his partner, they have to go from A to B to C. So you can see bits of the city, but you're always on the move. It's time to move, rookie. And you're always on the move, and it never lets up. And it shows this day in hell. And Judge Dredd has these obstacles or bad guys, gang members that's in his way. And for whatever Judge Death's plan is. Or maybe some type of horror action story. But yeah, I'm not familiar with the comics. I've heard bits and pieces that sound interesting, but being as a guy that's not too familiar, I'd be talking out of my ass about what specifically to do. But with Carl Urban and how badass that character was, I think there's a lot of stuff you could do with it. And sadly, that never came to be. Because instead we gotta have, you know, another Ghostbusters movie. We gotta have another Halloween Kills this time. We have another this. We can have Dredd 2 because it flopped. And that's how the business works, just how it goes. Cobra 2. I'm a big fan of Stallone's Cobra. That seemed like it would be the start of a new franchise. Even after the film came out. After the film came out, I swear there was a little bit of talk of doing it, but I guess Stallone's looked at the box office receipts again and went, well, it only made like 50 million in the US. The year before, I made Rambo 2, they made 150 million in the US, and then Rocky 4 made at least 100 million. This barely even cracked 50. Might not even crack it, might have been like 49. Okay, I guess I'll move on. And I still never understood. A lot of people hate Cobra. A lot of people dislike the film. I still don't get it, but teach their own. I think it's a solid action movie. To me, it's an epitomizing... It's a movie that epitomizes the 80s. And what they were about. It had almost like a horror feel to it. And I did Cobra 2. You could do a lot of stuff. You could have him deal with a cult of people. I mean, it's hard to put down what one plot I would have for Cobra 2, but it seemed like something you could do a lot with, and you just still keep that horror but action feel to it as well. I mean, whether it be with, sadistic, dirty cops, like psycho cops, and, you think you're psycho, you got nothing on me. Or whether you're dealing with, again, a city under siege, and Cobra has to try to survive and make some kind of peace. I just... depends what Stallone will be up for, of course. Or even years later, like if you did it in the vein of Drive, where, or Mandy, or any one of those films where it's just that feel, that tone, with the lighting and the choice of music. But then you have this character that has a past, been, the Cobra, that comes back and bites whoever attacks him. And he just, I think that was such a cool character. Cool name, cool look. The type of weapon he has, which I think was called the Jatomatic. That, the fact that not much else came of that, to me is a bit sad. So Cobra 2 is one. Commando 2, I'm actually surprised, because there's a Conan sequel, there's Terminator sequels, Predator 2, but without Arnold. But I'm surprised there was no Commando 2, because I thought Commando was a hit. It's definitely one of Arnold's most beloved movies, and that seems like a film you could do a sequel. I know there were strips. I forget the details, but it was like even bigger and more insane, the script for the sequel. I forget the details. I know Jack Craven, that guy knows the details of it. And if you're watching this, feel free to jot down below what they are. But, I mean, Commando 2 seems like a prime candidate for a franchise for Arnold. It doesn't have to be that his daughter's taken again. It could be... I think that was one of the many issues of the Taken, is that, oh, now he's taken, or now this is taken. It's like, okay, now you follow the character. Say with Commando, it doesn't have to be, oh, his daughter's taken again. It's some other story, but with this character, and that same humorous comic book over the top vibe to it. I think there's a lot you could do with Commando 2 with Arnold. Another one, Freddy vs. Jason 2. There was talks of it with Ash from Evil Dead. I know there were comic book versions that came out, but I'm not really big on the comics. Just one of them is the one where all the Dream Warriors came back as spirits. That's ambitious for a comic book. For a movie, I'm like, no, just down and simple. Freddy vs. Jason 2, the rematch. You put Kane Hodder this time back as Jason, and then you have Ash. You have a hero versus villains. Because Freddy vs. Jason, one of the issues, I don't care about anybody that's going after these two villains. I don't care about anybody in that cast. None of the kids. At least here, I would have someone I care about. And you could put a little bit of the Book of the Dead involved within the plot. So, Freddy vs. Jason 2, Ashes to Ashes. I think that would have been a fun, and I think it could have been a sequel that would have been better than the original. You give Freddy a little bit more of a body count. Jason, you have plays by Kane Hodder. You don't have him afraid of the fucking water, because they're trying to do the whole, he's afraid of drowning. Make it so that Freddy does it again, but this time Jason's not affected by it. He's learned to overcome that fear, and to me, that's the big obstacle for Freddy, to beat the one thing that is not fearful. That would be Freddy's ultimate antagonist. Freddy's ultimate antagonist is the one without fear, and that should be Jason Voorhees. So it's like Freddy Yes, you have all the powers in the world against Jason in the dream world, but he's the one guy you can't kill or make afraid. So now they're on even footing. Then, you know, whatever with the real world. You have Bruce Campbell, Robert Englund shooting quips back and forth, while Ash and Jason, machete versus chainsaw. And hell, I would put it, fuck it. There's always the misconception that Jason had a chainsaw. He never had a chainsaw. I'd put it in this movie. One time, fuck it. The machete's not working, he looks over, you reveal, he comes in with a chainsaw, and then Ash has a, oh shit, expression, and they have a chainsaw fight. Like, Chainsaw Master 2 with Dennis Hopper Leatherface. No, it's not realistic. If fucking saws got together, it would fuck up the... I understand. Chainsaw, if they clashed, the chainsaws would fuck up in real life. But this is Freddy vs. Jason 2. I'm willing to push the fantasy element. The believability in it. And have Jason... have that way finally. You get one more where Jason uses a chainsaw. Why not? I think there's a lot of fun you could have had with that. The addition of Ash, and the goal is Freddy wants the Book of the Dead, and that's going to help him have powers in the real world, not just the dream world. Or whatever you could... I think... And you could have... Freddy is the one that causes it, not Ash, so you got Deadites as well. So you got Freddy unleashing Deadites at Jason, and that's where Jason kills a bunch of Deadites because Freddy's pissed at Jason. So you have Freddy getting Deadites, Ash, and to Jason. And maybe you have this moment where the two of them not willingly working together, but accidentally working together, where all these Deadites and a whole town full, because of Freddy, and they have to fucking wipe this stuff out. And then face each other. And Freddy has no power, but he gets the power. He kills a couple people, not just one, a couple people in dreams. You have a nightmare world with Ash, where he's back at the Evil Dead cabin. And you do like a smorgasbord of stuff from Evil Dead films, as well as new stuff that Freddy's doing to torment Ash. I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of stuff you could do with it, and sadly it never came to be. Again, I would not do what they did with the comics, which I think one of them was supposed to be the idea. I would do it a different, more simple. I think simpler would be more effective. But that's just my take on it. Let's see. Tango Cash 2. The film came out, did okay business, but with all of the problems behind the scenes where the director got fired, then they had another director, and then there's a lot of re-editing. That's why in the trailer, you have scenes in the trailer that's not in the movie. Like in the trailer for Tango Cash, you have this bit with Stallone in a car with a shotgun. That's not in the movie. You have a bit with Stallone walking with a shotgun and like shooting the back of a window of a car. That's not in the movie. You have a bit where Kurt Russell's in a movie theater. Probably the first way if the bad guy he chases. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't have the big car chase in the garage. You had a foot chase into a movie theater. And they're like, we gotta have a bigger, so we'll have a car chase. But in the trailer, you see Kurt Russell, and he says, I hate you karate guys. Something like that. That's not in the movie. So there's a lot of reshoots, additional photography, re-editing of all the issues and problems, and it came out and did not make $100 million. I think the studio's like, maybe even anybody else, even Stallone and Kurt Russell, nah, all the headache from that, don't want to do it again. Which is a shame, because Tango Cash, I think it's one of my favorite buddy cop films. It's a fun movie. I think there's a lot you could have done with those characters. Like, you look at what happens with the Bad Boys films. I liked all the Bad Boys movies. 2, 1, 2, and 3. I think Tango Cash, what the Bad Boys did from the 90s to 2000s, Tango Cash could have done from the 80s to the 90s. And I mean, Tango Cash was 1989. I mean, you could have had Rennie Harlan directed instead of Cutthroat Island. Direct that. You know, work together with Stallone Cliffhanger. Or, I don't know, try to think of other action directors. Maybe a John McTiernan if he would do it. Maybe a... I have to think about it for a minute. But... John Woo. You know. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, Tango... Oh yeah, Stallone directed. He directed Rocky sequels. He could direct Tango and Cash too. He's a capable director. So there's a lot of stuff you could have done. Plot-wise, I don't know what you would do plot-wise, but the sky would be the limit with these guys. So. Again, maybe they could have done before Die with a Vengeance did it. Although I love Die with a Vengeance. But imagine them in a Simon Says scenario where the two of them, there's this bomber going around. I don't know why. For some reason my mind is now concentrated on that. Because that was a cool setup in Die with a Vengeance that I thought they did very well. So you have your two heroes on the move going to various different locations. But then a better version of 12 rounds. I'll put it that way. Tango and Cash 2 could have been a better version of 12 rounds. One of them, there's a bad guy for their past. The other guy's going to help out. It's like, okay, you know what? 2 for the price of 1. And either they're certain bad guys they have to fight, certain scenarios they have to survive, whether it's revenge or whether, like Die with a Vengeance, there's a other hidden motive to it. That's up to you, the writer. But Tango and Cash 2 would have been fun. The Adventures of Ford Fairlane too, because I love that film a lot. I love Andrew Dice Clay in that film. I just would love to have seen more of that character, Ford Fairlane. I know it's based on novels and other stuff, but Ford Fairlane 2 would have been a lot of fun to see. Just to see more of the Rocky Road detective. Neil and Bob, is that your names? Or is that what you do? You know. Just Andrew Dice Clay, that R-rated, decent enough budget, get some good action sequences, more of the adventures of just what this crazy guy will go through. And that's the thing with Ford Fairlane. I think it's an underrated film because I don't think a lot of people realize how much of a parody it's purposely being on action films. I mean, fuck, there's a scene where, you know how so many action films, you have the guy that goes in and then their girlfriend or their partner or their buddy is killed and they find it and they get mad and they go revenge on the third act. Well, here he goes in and it's this gift he got of a koala that's a fucking koala's been hanged. Or how explosions always happen. So they go out of the building, him and this girl, and the place explodes. They blew up my place. Oh, I got my car back. He hits it, immediately the car blows up and he flies back. Idea is that motif of action films if everything needs to blow up and immediately the car blows up. Or the hero has to do a cool kill or should do a cool kill on the bad guy. Here it's, you know, burning the guy. You know, burning Wayne Newton. There, Wayne Newton as your villain. It's like people took it more seriously than it was supposed to. You have the other cop that gives our lead guy a hard time. Only this is Ed O'Neill going, booty tap, boot my balls. Like it's a fun movie. It's a funny movie. It's an un-PC movie, but it's It's quirky. It's weird. Robert, you have the one bad guy who... How many times have you seen the bad guy that will never stay dead? But they personally had that with Robert England. You know, he has a TV on his head. In this boat that's sinking. He comes back later. Fala mano a mano. Thanks for working. And thanks for being a jerk of mano a mano. What the hell does mano a mano mean? Use your head. Snap your head. So Ford Fairlane 2, like that was a take on all the times bad guys won't stay dead and do it to the ridiculous. I mean, I think that film is a lot smarter than people give it credit for. So I love Ford Fairlane. So I wish they had a sequel. Let's go with some newer films. Willy's Wonderland 2. Honestly, it'd be one of those sequels that would probably just be like a remake of the original. And maybe there's a sister location. There's a brother location. There's another location. There's probably more than one Willy's Wonderland, but maybe it's different. Here's our sister location, and we have, you know, different animatronics. Only this time it's you did like a older guy. You did a Van Damme or Dolph Lundgren. There you go. Willy's Van Damme or Dolph. You want to do one more movie? Do Willy's Wonderland 2. Make that happen. With a Jean-Claude Van Damme or Dolph Lundgren. No shaky cam. Longer fight scenes. And more gore. But I don't know, it could be an uncle who's there for his nephew's birthday party. It's this new high-tech place that's been... I mean, it's gonna be ridiculous no matter what, so just go along with the ridiculousness. They're shut in, there's no escape, they're cut off, and pretty much, you know, his nephew's over here. You know, the hero has a past that haunts him. You can't do the no talking thing because that was already done. So you did have the guy talk, but this is his redemption arc. And so throughout this facility, he goes from point to point B to point C. And you know, the animatronics are killing everybody else. They get to him as Van Damme. Yeah! You know, yeah! You know, and do that. Go back to the old school Van Damme. Come on! Or, you know, with Dolph Lundgren, you know, or maybe a little bit of his performance in Command performance. Where he's like, dying is easy. Rock and roll is hard. You know, maybe that type of performance from Dolph. Or just that type of guy. Or fuck, even, you know, Sylvester Stallone, instead of doing your bullshit Rocky IV director's cut, which to me is pointless. Instead of doing shit like Bat Trace, Steve Plane 2 and 3, there you go, do this kind of movie. That at least I'd finally get my Stallone horror film. Although I guess I could say ICU is that, but I mean like a supernatural horror film. I'd take that. I would take that. There you go, Stallone, you want to do something different, which I want to see you do something different and unique. Do that. So, Willy's Wonderland 2 with that kind of, and that way you improve. I really enjoyed that first movie. You can improve on what didn't work. Okay, less shaky cam, less lens flares, and longer fights with animatronics. Maybe a little bit more gore. There you go. And that's just my take on it. A couple more. Bright 2 with Will Smith. There's talks of a sequel, and now there's no word on it. It's like been completely forgotten now. I guess they're not doing it anymore, which is a shame. Because I really enjoyed Bright. I actually think that's one of Will Smith's better new films. It hasn't even gotten an official release on physical media because Netflix picks and chooses what it wants to do with that. I don't know why. Sometimes they'll do it with Stranger Things, they did it, sometimes they won't. But I really enjoyed Bright, and I'd be curious to see a sequel with those two detectives. And you could put even more of the fantastical, like dragons. Because in the first one, I saw one dragon in the sky. What are dragons in this world? What are they like? You put unicorns. What are they like? Maybe it's a unicorn that, cusses a lot. You fuck with me, I'm gonna put this horn up your ass. Maybe it's a foul-mouthed unicorn. I'm tired of this shit. People think we're always girly and shit. I'm tired of that bullshit. Then, you call me a girl one again, or you call me a fucking My Little Pony again. That's the thing, maybe people make fun of him and call him My Little Pony. It's like, you call at me again, I'm gonna stick this up your fucking ass until it comes out of your teeth. You see this? You want it? With your sun don't shine? Keep fucking with me. Keep calling me My Little Pony, motherfucker. Like, you can have that. Hell, have Sam Jackson voice it. He's in every other fucking movie. And he'll say, motherfucker. You call me My Little Pony again, motherfucker. There you go. Have a dragon, but the dragon maybe is like the new boss. Because now more fantastical creatures are being able to be a part of the department because of the success of the orc in the first movie. So this dragon becomes like a new boss. Can you imagine, the typical boss yelling, but as he's yelling, he shoots like a fucking fireball? Tell you guys, insubordination. Stop pissing me off. Or something like that. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff you could do. I like the world it introduced in Bright. I would like to see more of it. And it was successful. But lo and behold, there was talks of a sequel, but I've heard nothing about it since. So, I would like a Bright 2. I don't mind the Doom from 2005, so Doom 2, a sequel to that. Because I think that would be prime for it. I don't count Doom Annihilation, that's not a sequel, that's a shitty reboot. The 2005 Doom with The Rock and Carl Urban, I like, but it's flawed. And that's why I think it's prime for a sequel 2 years after. Because you take what didn't work, you take what did work, you keep what did work, and you fix what didn't work. So what did work in the 2005 Doom? Carl Urban was really good. The score by, I think, Clint Mansell, who worked with Nine Inch Nails, pretty decent. You have some really good special effects, makeup effects, by Stan Winston's company. Some good practical effects. You have a cool first-person shooter sequence. The production value was fairly solid. Like the sets, I don't think it looked cheap. You keep that, and you go, okay, what didn't work? People wanted hell. In the 2005 film, they mentioned this excavation site that Carl Urban and the one girl's parents worked at. You could go further to what the excavation site was. Maybe someone goes further with it and it is a doorway to hell. And that's where this stuff did come from. And you have more first-person shooter sequences. And, okay, people want to see more of the monsters. And they want to see more of the monsters from the game. So incorporate that into it. Now you have to find a way to get Carl Urban in there, because he's like, why the fuck would I do this again? I don't quite know what that would be plot-wise. I haven't worked that out in my head yet. Because I can't do the aliens thing where he keeps having nightmares, because he is a soldier, so he would be more used to that, so... If it's like, well, to find out the secrets of your parents, maybe that'd be like, well, dude, just, you still don't worry about it. I don't know, just find some way to get him in there that's understandable to the viewer. And maybe he's with a team of people that it ends up being himself. Or there's problems. There's already problems. There's already... People have already gone... They've already opened up the gate. Oh, and they forced Carl Urban to go. That's what you could do. Kind of like the collection. The sequel to that. They force him to go, saying, we got your sister. You want something to happen to her? Go ahead, stay. If you don't want something to happen to her, you're coming with us. And they forced Carl Urban to go. That's the way to do it. They force him to go. And say, yeah, we've had this operation. Something went awry. Fine. You're going with us. Or something's going to happen to your sister. And he has... That's a way to do it because he didn't choose to do it. He's doing it for a noble cause to help his sister out. Because these guys are assholes. Since these guys are assholes, you give them gory comeuppance in a variety of ways by these creatures. Introduce... You gotta have the creature, I forget his name, that's the one eye that floats. You gotta have that in there. Come on now. You gotta have a BFG and use the BFG on creatures. You gotta have Carl Urban get the BFG. And because there was a team before, that's how you find dead bodies. He's able to find weapons from them. And that's why you have a team before it, so that, well, how does he get weapons in there? Because people went in there already, they got their ass killed because they're too stupid or they're too fail on the F-scale fuck. So Carl Urban finds a weapon. I mean, Doom 2. I forget, Doom, The Road to Hell. I don't know how. Doom 2, The Road to Hell. Doom 2, To Hell and Back. Whatever you want to call for a subtitle. So I would like to see that. So it's Dredd 2, Cobra 2, Commando 2, Freddy vs. Jason 2, Ashes to Ashes, Tango Cash 2, Fairlane 2, Willy's Wonderland 2, Doom 2, Bright 2, and I was trying, because I kept thinking of like, well, how about Time Cop 2 with Van Damme? But there was a Time Cop with Jason Scott Lee, and he asked, that never got a sequel. You think, well, Predator 3, Van Damme in the snow, and it's set in a prison. So there's all the inmates, like a good version of Alien 3. But, okay, a film that never got a sequel, I would say Godzilla 2, 1998 film. And what you could do with it, one that eggs hatches, and then, by some kind of force, I know there was a initial idea for Godzilla 2, if it was a success. I would not use that idea. I'd be like, we don't need another draft. It'd be him fighting another creature. You bring back Matthew Broderick, you bring back John Reno, you'd even bring back Hank Azaria. And they're following this creature, team back together again. But sometime during the movie, because of some creature, alien source, that happens a lot of these Godzilla films, something attacks this Godzilla and changes his DNA. And he changes his DNA, and so his body forms into the Godzilla people know. And that way, people don't like that form of Godzilla. Well, because of some alien, I don't know, their version of toxic waste, whatever it may be, thinking it's going to kill this Godzilla. Oh, maybe it shoots this thing and it's going to kill him. But no, it's not like the other, whatever this being is. I don't know if it's, you want to introduce King Ghidorah, you want to introduce Guy Dan, you want to introduce whatever. But it thinks it kills Godzilla, but it forms this cocoon. And when it comes out, it's more of the typical... Can you imagine that reveal? You don't know what's going on, and it's in this cocoon. Why is it in this cocoon thing? What the fuck is this movie doing? Now imagine an audience in like 2000, 2001. You're sitting there, you know, you gotta keep it secret, and this cocoon forms because of this fucking toxic, alien toxic, whatever thing. And when it comes out, it's an American with the budget and the effects, but it's the original design of Godzilla. And that's what he's changed into. And he does the roar. And maybe a monster is there, like you have a secondary monster. Again, I don't, maybe it'd be like 3 monsters, right? And the secondary monster is coming at him, and there's Matthew Broderick, Hank Azaria, John Renault, they're watching, and then the reveal where after it does the roar, it sees the monster and does the blast that fucking thing. So now our human characters realize, oh shit, what is that? It's mutated. It didn't die, in fact it became something better, bigger, deadlier. So it becomes even more of a threat to Godzilla. And then maybe by the end, have Godzilla kill, you know, 1 or 2 of them by itself. And I don't like this motif, but if you want to, you can have the humans help out Godzilla. And this is a different Godzilla, and maybe it's like, okay, somehow this Godzilla, because these humans helped him, becomes like a cautious ally friend to the humans, if you want to go in that direction. Depends what direction you want to go in. So, you have the death of, you know, killed the thing's mom in the first movie. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a story arc could be some type of understanding that maybe we could coexist in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, that's something that a better writer could delve into than I could. So that's the other one I would put in. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.